Hello, welcome to Dungeon Mastering is Easy. My name is Vahid Qualls. I'm the host of the show. And look, we've got back with us for the second time, Caustic Phoenix. So nice to have you with us, Caustic. How you doing?
I am thrilled to be back. How are you?
I am really good, really good. Hey, Caustic is a multi-award winning Twitch streamer and nerd convention host. Is also a Full Sail course director in game business and esports. So nice to have you back with us.
I love being here. I'm just mad that you live across the world, or else we could do this in person. And I just know we could do this all the time. Constantly.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes. Let me just move. Let me just pack everything. That'd be easy, right?
Yeah. Curse you, Pacific Ocean. Hey, today we're going to be talking about character death. Is it okay to kill for characters to die?
Yes. Murder them. Oh, sorry. We weren't ready for that yet. Okay.
That's a spoiler. All right. We've done that's it. Now,
I got excited. I'm sorry.
As a little bit of backstory of why Caustic is the perfect person to talk about this is Caustic ran a show called D20 Deathmatch.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that show and how that connects with this theme, please?
Yes. So in D20 Deathmatch, as you imagine, it is a match to the death. And most of the time when you are playing Dungeons and Dragons, you want to get along with your party. Like, there are very explicit pre-conversations that happen most of the time before you engage in PvP situations to make sure it's done safely. Everyone understands the rules. But when you play on D20 Deathmatch, it is understood that you or your opponent, or perhaps both of you, will be dead by the end of the episode, which is very exciting and sometimes freeing, but it also allows us to explore a topic that is not only considered a bit taboo and dangerous in games, but it is in real life as well. And we just embrace it front and center and acknowledge it's going to happen. So let's tell our story of how it's going to happen.
Wonderful. So as you can imagine, Caustic has had more experiences of people having playing D&D and having character deaths than most people on the planet. So, all right. So please share with us some of your insights around this.
Yes. Death is, as I mentioned, right, in real life, we kind of hesitate sometimes dancing around it. And the same goes to in games. And even in regular D&D games, we often have in session 0 where we confirm if we're okay or not okay with character death, which is a fantastic thing to do. That's an important premise to cover. But character death is an important part of one story. It's not just the end of one story, but it's the final note that allows us to summarize, to accumulate the full growth of a character and what they've been through. And it is a beautiful note that sometimes we're afraid to reach, maybe because we don't know if we'll hit it right, or that we're having a hard time to let go, which I understand as well. But it is part of being able to experience the full human experience, which is what storytelling really allows us to embrace.
Amazing. Amazing. So there are 3 kind of themes that you've mentioned there that I'd really like to dive deeper into each one. Should we start with the session 0 stuff, with the setting up? Why do you say that? Why is that important to kind of set up the parameters or expectations around this? And how do you do it?
I think that's a fair question. In life, we know kind of death is inevitable, but when we engage in stories, we don't always know what options are available. And it's important to bring that up so that way players and DMs can embrace what opportunities are there and prepare and create for that. The stories are not entirely just random, chaotic, like it is what it is, right? We recognize both the ownership and opportunity and responsibility we have as storytellers. And that includes how we want to handle the discussions of death. And storytelling is also a time, especially when you're sitting down at a table, where we get to have so much more control over very tough situations that allow us to come in better prepared, to experience it in a way that is healthy and safe and not like a really bad therapy session, right?
You're right. Yeah.
It's important. Now,
Which it could be.
Covered this. You've before have covered death with your characters. What have you done in session 0s to be like, hey, there's a chance that you could die?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I think is to kind of to go back before I go forwards, to preface what I'm going to say, is that I think there are very different expectations that are subconscious, that are assumed. Assumed is probably the best word.
Yes.
Like, I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for more than 40 years, right? So people that started playing Dungeons & Dragons when I started playing Dungeons & Dragons, it was assumed that characters probably weren't going to live. That was the baseline assumption, right? When you started first edition Dungeons & Dragons as a wizard, you had a 1d4 plus your con modifier hit points, which you rolled.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So it could be real low.
Real low. A goblin does 1d6 damage.
Dead.
All right. Okay?
Yes.
A wizard had one spell a day. One. Cantrips didn't even exist. You could choose magic, missile, or shield, right? You know?
What a choice.
What a choice. I get one guaranteed hit or one save that I'm... But the moral of the story is you entered a character into an adventure without the assumption of permanence.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas I think the way that Dungeons & Dragons has evolved, especially with the kind of really explosion of new people into the game, a lot of who come from more of a narrative basis, storytelling, dramatic basis. We know that D&D is really popular among theater nerds like myself. I work in TV, right?
Who would have guessed?
Right. And that's and many of these players come with very different assumptions about why they're playing the game.
Yes. And everyone views themselves as a protagonist. And of course, we know protagonists, if they die, it's not till the very end, right? They at least make it through the main story. But it really changes, especially when you're sharing a table, but also redefining. This is our chance to break up that general trope of when does a hero die? It's fun. This also reminds me a little bit of like guidelines and parameters that we set, because it's not just that a DM can suddenly like throw in any kind of situation to kill your players. Like the goal is not to try to murder them unless that's the game you all agree on and want it to purposely be a meat grinder, which is a choice, right? As long as everyone sits down and agrees with it. But you can also set up guidelines of talking ahead of time of what you're okay with, the way that goes, or how it's even going to be handled. I know this isn't D&D, but I adore Danny Trejo for a variety of reasons, like how he is an actor. But I've heard the rumor that whenever he plays villainous characters, he has a requirement that they must lose, and if anything, die, right, to show that evil does not win. Because that's
amazing,
right? It's a choice in which he's deciding what kind of story he wants to tell. What's the meaning and responsibility when he plays villainous characters? What do we want to tell people that happens to individuals who act this way?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty, but that's a discussion that you have to have. Sure, in this case, he has a director, writer, team, other actors. They clearly have planned this ahead of time. But even in D&D, when we're sitting at a table with other people, we can have a discussion and be open to saying, like, I understand what my character is doing. I understand if these things are happening. I'm open to it, and letting other players know that you're open to it. Or even letting them know, like, even if your character is a hero, not a villain, like, I'm okay if you don't revive me. Having those conversations are important. And gosh darn, sometimes we have to have those in real life. And that's where I guess D&D can help us a little bit.
Indeed, for sure. And there are also some times when a player may actually want their character to die, right?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced that?
Yes. It's exciting when it happens too.
What an interesting response.
I know it sounds weird. Yes, it's your time. But it's kind of like a TV show that you've watched and it goes a season longer than it needed to. And then it's like, oh, well, this is a bad season now. Like they should have just stopped. They should have stopped when it was good. And that's the same too with characters. Like when they've come full circle, when they've had the growth that they need, right? You can find ways to end their story. And yeah, you could have them ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after, right? But that's technically still not the ending. They could have other things that go on. Then you have to challenge to say, where do they grow from there? But if your character has reached that, especially within conjunction with other players and how the story is progressing, sometimes an end can just be magnificent, where their final breath can be a sacrifice, can be a final act,
that's
can
right.
be that period to the end of their sentence that they've been needing.
Yeah. In fact, it's interesting that you say that, a sacrifice. I've had situations, I don't know if you've had this as well, where a player has started on a journey with their character, and then after a number of sessions have thought, this character isn't actually as fun to play as I had thought. And I'm curious to try another character.
Yes.
And have messaged me and said, Fahid, what do you think about that idea? And I was like, oh yeah, baby.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And you can have fun with it. Like, if this character isn't serving your purpose anymore, let them leave. Even better, we had something similar on D20 Deathmatch, and we were in a story mode version instead of just the PvP. And we had a player who wanted to do that. And so she killed her previous character. That was her new character's introduction, was an arrow comes flying across the desert and stabs the previous character. None of the other players knew. We did surprise them with this, and they're all freaking out what's going on. And then they see their friend who's sitting at the table with them resume right now the voice and the persona of this new character, and it just kind of clicks, right? Like, oh, here's what's going on. We're doing a change. And it also allows all of the other players, like I sometimes think of it when we think about death of like how it just is the DM and the player, but there's other players that are impacted by your player's death as well. Of what kind of catalyst that is for them now to have somebody who was part of their party that they thought was permanent and is now gone. Of how does this change them as players, as characters? It's exciting.
Yeah. I think that perfectly moves into this kind of next, out of the kind of preparation and preparing people and figuring out what people's expectations isn't into the story and dramatic value that it has. You talked about final notes of ways of a character kind of, finishing their experience, but it also can propel the story and the experience for not only that player, but other players as well.
Yes, very much so. Your story can be a catalyst for somebody else's story, especially if we're feeling stuck and stagnant or your character isn't adding more to the group, right? That's also why it's really important to make sure you see a difference between yourself and your character, right? When a character dies, you are not dying, right? Your value at the table has not been diminished. And when that bleed happens, sometimes people do take it personal when it's death. So you have to really have those conversations, but it can be amazing. Not that I'm, a huge fan of Disney always killing off parents, but it can often be a stage in which the next steps can come.
A lot more excellent ideas coming up from Caustic in just a moment, but we're going to take a quick break and tell you about the new Kickstarter book that we're making called You Need More Orcs. It's a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons supplement book all about orcs. It's got 60 original brand new orc stat blocks. They are super fun. They're frightening. They're fierce, not to be messed around with, but there's a lot more than just the orcs. There's things around cultural practices, social structures. There are sayings and expressions. There are rules, extra rules about forts. There are name generators, a whole bunch of things. Head to the Kickstarter link in the video podcast description down below because you know what? You need more orcs! In a recent campaign that I had, one of the players had decided that they were they wanted to try a different character. And so we arranged this thing, and they did a sacrificial thing to allow the rest of the party to be able to escape from a dangerous situation. And the impact that it had on the other players is they kind of still refer to that moment. It was a big, dramatic, important moment in the story, and it kind of fueled some of the character arcs of the other characters. So, it was interesting that, just as you said, it can propel the story forward.
Yes, and it breathes one final breath of life back into a character that may have felt stagnant. Right? Choosing to let go of a character doesn't mean that they're useless. You're finding one more way in which they can bring back who they are and how they want to influence their world. And that is such a powerful note to hit. I think also as a DM, when you're thinking about how do we navigate this, always give your players a chance to let those characters that they're letting go have final words.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They should have the ownership of how they frame that particular death. Yeah. That's important for them as storytellers, but also in their own way of being able to say goodbye to that character as well.
Yes. Yes. One of the things as a dungeon master that that one of the other reasons why I think that having character death is valuable in a campaign or cross campaigns is it shatters the illusion of plot armor for every player in every campaign you ever play with them again.
They will forever live in fear.
Honestly. And
you kill one person once and no one trusts you anymore.
Right? But
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
If one character dies, it increases the jeopardy and the sense of danger for every player that ever plays with you again.
Yes. It changes the way they play too. When you feel like you are a god, when you are invincible, you are more willing to make some stupid choices.
And
right?
they happen.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest. We've both been players. It's fun to make stupid, risky choices. But when death is on the table and knowing how that can have implications on the rest of the table and how attached we might be to our characters, that can give us pause, and not even just to discourage us necessarily from risk, but encourage us to be clever, to be smarter players. If we take on the risk, how do we do this in a brilliant way? Not just, let's just do it and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Brilliant. And you're talking a bit before around, which I think connects into the third point that you mentioned around letting go. And you mentioned around, we become attached to our characters and we can see them as an extension of ourselves. And to be honest, they are, right?
Yes.
I mean, when we make characters, they're an extension of something that we feel ourselves or something that we playfully want to explore, that we don't have, but still is an extension of us in some way. And so, of course, when that character dies, of course, we can sometimes feel sad and upset about it. Do you have any thoughts and experiences or advice around that aspect?
It is part of the artistic experience. It is important, one, because you have to be careful of where that bleed is. You're right. It's an extension of ourselves. It's an expression of ourselves, of what we're curious about, what we're interested in, aspects either of ourselves or the world around us. And so it's important for us to spend time to explore that outside of the game, to understand what we're comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with, exploring conversations of how we handle this death and how we picture something like this happening. And that's where we can then have those conversations with DMs. There's plenty of times as a player where I've messaged a DM and I said, hey, by the way, I'm okay with my character dying. Here's some ideas that I would have that would make this feel conclusive if that opportunity aligns with what you're also creating in this process, because it is a mutual creation, right? When you're a player, sometimes we only think like, what's happening to my character?
Totally,
but a character death can be much, much broader. So you do want to think of that. I think the other additional challenge of when we embrace character death is to not see this only as a loss, but it is also an opportunity.
Yeah,
and that's what we see in when we do D20 Deathmatch, is that death is a celebration that you have put yourself out there 100%. You have completely committed and given everything that you've had. And that death is not a part of failure or embarrassment, but it was a full commitment of who you are. And that is a full moment to be proud of. And that can be what a character really needs, that final note that we've mentioned many times at this point.
Yeah. Brilliant. There's another time where characters die, and that is when the dice just don't go their way.
Yes.
Or when characters have made, when players have made decisions which have put them in silly situations beyond their expectations, and they suddenly find, without thinking, I'm ready for this character to die, they suddenly find they're in death saves, and they roll a nat 1.
The heartbreak.
And it can happen so quickly.
Yes.
A character can go down and in 2 turns can be dead. You know? I think those are the shocking ones that are more difficult for players to cope with.
Yes. I'll be honest. I had a situation like that where I was the player and it was hard. My character did make a very stupid choice, right? That was not just the dice. That
I'm not
was
laughing.
me, right? I made a dumb choice, put my character in a bad position. It happened, and then yes, failed the death saving throws, and I was devastated. Death was always on the table, but in my brain, I thought, not to this little character, right? This was not going to happen, and it broke my heart.
Wow.
It's hard, especially because I didn't feel like I had finished their story.
You hadn't finished their story, yeah.
That's the hardest part of like, out of all of this, what now? And so one, that's where you have to take a breather. Remember that this is not personal. These are games. It's dice. You yourself are not dying. But I think it's also then important to have conversations, both with other players and the DM, of what happened. It's nice when we're prepared for it in game that we can give our character closure there. But it's also important outside of game that we take time to allow ourselves closure that way as well, especially if it's unexpected and it feels too soon. Yeah. That doesn't mean that we can just go retcon. DMs can make that decision, right? Like, oh, suddenly there's a magic way that they can be saved, right? Like DMs can make whatever decision they want. But in the position of a player, this is one of the harshest lessons, but important lessons that storytelling can give us in learning about how do we navigate tough situations. And that's hard. Have you ever had to have that conversation with players when they've lost somebody unexpectedly?
Oh, yeah. Yes. And and what I generally do is in the group while we're doing it, I try to be as gentle as possible.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I will message the player and have a chat with the player afterwards. Just check in and see how they're going.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's such a good idea because if anything, it helps to feel seen from your DM of like,
that's right, yeah.
I recognize you just went through something really tough, right? Even though we say like, yeah, it's a game, but it's a game that does matter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because as we mentioned before, it is an extension of some part of our self in some way, an expression of something. But yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. So I think kindness, thoughtfulness, and a recognition of what we've lost is so important to have.
Yeah. Amazing. So in summary, Dungeons & Dragons is an action game involving combat and fighting monsters. Setting up expectations at the beginning is valuable to know what kind of game you're playing. I personally don't like plot armor for characters. The advantages of having of character deaths being on the table and being an option is it raises the stakes. It makes every decision more important. But when proceeding and when characters die, it's wise for a dungeon master to have some care and caution and compassion around it. Any other summarizing thoughts from your perspective?
No, that was excellent. And remember, these are all conversations to have and negotiate, right? In general, it's important to have an understanding of what everybody wants at that table and figuring out if this is the right match and we're telling the story that we want. I will also add, because I agree, I love getting rid of, like, you can't be protected by the plot. Anyone can die. I did enjoy one time where we were, and that's because we were all playing children.
There you go. Yeah,
that was a really safe and smart, like, I never thought of that, but like, yes. But we did have things like you could be sick that would take you out, right? Like, or an injury that would take you. Technically, it wasn't death, though. And I think that's where you have to play it smart and considerate of what game are you playing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I similarly, on our channel, on the Dice Legenz channel, we once did a short adventure series of kids on bikes.
Oh, yes.
Which is a super fun game.
Yeah.
But again, and it's kids v monsters, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but you don't want to be, we didn't want to be role-playing kids getting killed. It just feels, so yeah, that's a really good point that you've just made. To finish off, we're going to do something completely different. We're going to do a regular segment that we called In a World. Oh. And what this is this is a fun little world-building thing where we have a whole bunch of world-building prompts that have been supplied by the Dice Legenz patrons on Patreon. And so what we're going to do is we're going to roll four 20s. Can you hear that? I got them ready to go. I got a roll table. Okay.
All right.
And we're going to see what we get. Why don't you pick 2 random numbers from 1 to 20?
Okay. 7 and 17. Those are my
7.
favorite lucky numbers.
7. Rain rewrites memories.
Oh, like it literally washes away your memories. This is amazing.
17. Souls are visible. Okay? And I'm going to randomly roll 2 other ones because I can see the listener to be cheating. 16. 16. Double 16. Spells grow on trees.
I love that. We were just talking about how we have different fruit trees in our area.
Yeah, we were.
It's just like that, but we'll just replace it with spells.
And I'm going to just take the next one above 16, which would have been 17, but you said 17, which means I'm going 18.
Yes.
Sleep reveals prophecies.
Oh.
All right. Spells grow on trees. Souls are visible. Sleep reveals prophecies. Rain rewrites memories. We're going to spend just like 2 or 3 minutes, seeing if we can tie them together, and then we're going to do a movie trailer narrative. Ready? And the clock starts now. Let's go.
Right. Well, what if memories are attached to souls, and every time it rains, it actually sweeps the souls, and it gets jumbled up? Like each time, then you find yourself attached to whatever body you can.
Body swapping?
Constantly with the souls, because the rain, it's not just wiping the memories, it wipes all of you with it. I'm going to expand it.
Oh my goodness, people would be so afraid of rain, wouldn't they?
Yes. So they live constantly undercover. Umbrellas are so valuable in this world.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And the only way and sleep reveals prophecies, right? So, but when you go to sleep, you get glimpses into the future. Mm-hmm. So the rain and the world around you affects your soul and wipes away your memories, and you latch yourself onto the closest body that you can. But when you sleep, you see glimpses into the future. I love it.
What if that becomes more terrifying because you only see it when you're in that future body, or like you see a future body, like that's the one, but you don't know until you are in that body. Like you're
yes.
I see it happening when I have red hair, and then you're like, next time it rains, when am I going to have red hair and this thing is going to happen? This premonition.
Future stuff for DMs is hard to interweave. I love it. I reckon the BBEG is responsible for this. Maybe it's an accident. Maybe it's on purpose. I think our heroes need to somehow fix this problem.
Yes. What if we give a little compassion to our BBEG? What if they were just trying to wipe away their own memories?
Yes.
And
I love
expanded. Like they wanted to start fresh. Like, I hate where I am right now, made some bad decisions, bad things have happened in my life. I just want to start fresh. And it just expanded.
Got out of control.
Yes.
And the quest is that there is a sacred tree upon which spells grow. That they need to find this sacred tree and collect the spell leaves.
Yes. Yes. It is only that can undo all of this. Oh, that is precious.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do in a world. Do you want to go? So basically, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want to be 1 and 3 or 2 and 4?
I'll be.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I'll be 1 and 3.
Okay, go for it. I'm ready.
In a world where the rain washes all away,
including your soul, as it wanders shapeless, finding the next body it can attach to.
You have to find your way from body to the sacred tree, far away.
And there, after collecting the spells that grow only on that tree, confront the terrifying past in this, the Rain Soul Tree.
Yes! I kind of want to see this world come to be, please. Can you imagine, like, your players would have to, like, roll to find out what character body they would find themselves in all of a sudden? That would change all of their stats. Like, what if you're suddenly a small child and you have no strength? Like, you have to change all of it.
And the story would involve maybe starting initially in a place where they can control it more like Cityscape, where they can run from, building to building. But when you're going for that soul tree, spell tree, you have to go through the wilderness. It's going to be raining, baby.
Yes. Or when they have a choice of like, I also don't like how this body works. I purposely go out in the rain. Hit me. Give me something else. Like,
Hey, Caustic, it has been so fun hanging out with you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. I said the same thing twice in 2 different sentence orders, but it's nice to have you with us. Can you tell us how people can connect with you, please?
Absolutely. It's so much fun being here. You're an amazing host. You bring up such great topics and you handle them perfectly. You can find me as Caustic Phoenix on a variety of channels from Instagram, Blue Sky, and of course on Twitch. And you can join the Discord while I make announcements of wherever I'm in and wherever I'm making guest spots.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And if you want to support this podcast and the Dice Legenz channel just in general, head to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Dice Legenz. You can follow for free. Doesn't cost you a single penny. Or there are 3 simple tiers of ways that you can financially support us and help our channel prosper and grow. All right, y'all. Get some dice. Get some friends together. Give DMing a shot because you know what? Dungeon mastering is easy.
And then let us know in the comments your favorite character death.
Yes. Awesome
I want to
idea.
hear them.
All right. Catch ya. See you next time, guys.
Bye.
It's wonderful to see all the new Patreons that have popped in over the last couple of weeks. If you want to see your name in these credits as well, hit us up.